I came to play for Everton. I had trials for Everton when I was 13-year-old. I came over for trials just before the war ended. We used to come over on the bus and then the boat and the tram up to the ground with my gas mask on my back. And the first people I met at Everton at that time was Joe Mercer and T.G. Jones. And they advised me and welcomed me to the club and wished me all the best, of course. And from then on I came back and forward to play in matches, you know, in trial matches. And I signed then, when I was just over 14, signed amateur forms for Everton, and played up to 1948 actually. From 1945 to 48 I played, and then went on played in the A team, B team. We had 4 or 5 teams then. We had the A, B, C and D team actually then. And then from then on the army came up, of course, and so I went in the army in 1948 till 1950, so I missed 2 years actually. Which
regiment?
I was in the North Staffs. First of all I was in the Cheshire Regiment and at Chester, and I got transferred to the North Staffs in the Midlands, and went on then, and I went to Egypt, and I played football over there for the battalion over there in Egypt. Enjoyed it, you know, as much as you could, but wish I was playing at Everton, as I signed before I left so they could hold my signature. But as I say, in today's football probably you wouldn't do that. There's no prescription. So I enjoyed it. As I say, in 1950 I came out of the army and played a few games actually in the reserves. I travelled with the first team in the first season, 1950-51. That's how I got into the team actually. I always remember I went to Charlton as 12th man, and in those days 12th man was 12th man. We used to push the skips in and everything, just help the trainer and everything then. There was no chance of getting on the field, there was no substitutes. And that was my first introduction to top flight football. Delighted the week after I was put in the team, which I enjoyed very much. And my first game was at Leeds United in the second division. This was, we won 2-1 actually. It was a great start. Tommy Eglinton scored the 2 goals, great left winger of Everton. I always remember putting one pass on for him to score, and we won 2-1. Then we came back to Goodison. Our next game was at home, and I just can't remember. I think it was actually a 3-3 draw, and I scored my first goal in that game. But from then on I went on. We didn't do too good in the 1951-2 season. 1952-53 we improved slightly in the second division. We were getting there, you know, getting the team spirit together and everything. And we had a great game as we was in the second division. Everybody remember the game, you know, where we could have won the cup actually that year, when we beat Man United, and we beat Aston Villa actually, and went on to play Bolton in the semi-final, which we lost 4-3. But as I say, that year was great, and we were getting there. We were about 7th, 8th in the league of the second division. Just couldn't make it into the top division. But the year after, we had a wonderful year actually. We should have won the league in 1954. Very hard luck really, by 0.2 of a goal or something like that. But all we were concerned about is getting Everton back into the top division, which was a fantastic season. I don't think we ever lost at home. We drew a couple, but we won every game at home. Scored quite a few goals, and my partner at that time was John Willie Parker, who scored 36 goals actually that year. I think I scored 26, something like that. We scored 60 odd goals between us, and people always say, oh, that was great, you know, but I said, but Dixie scored 60 on his own, you know, and so, you know, it was good. At any rate, we were absolutely made up, you know, to get back into the top division, which is now the Premiership, and we went on from there. Things went all right. I played the next season in the top division, and just things, I don't know, I had little troubles through my career. I've been booked and all different things like that. Really, I probably love the game too much, you know. I mean, but I could only say that it was through that really that, you know, clubs came in for me, but I was left out once, you see. I was left out of the team once, and which I was very disappointed. Never complained about it at all, but then a couple of the clubs came in for me when they saw that I was dropped out of the team, and I say Aston Villa were one of those clubs, and I thought, well, if I'm going to be left out of the team, I want to play football. There was no financial reward for me at all. We were all on the same money at that time, and I went to Huddersfield Town and really enjoyed it, although it didn't go too well for me. I was only there for 4 months at Aston Villa. Enjoyed every minute, played some great players. Peter McParland, the exception, the left winger from Ireland, Irish player, left winger, great player, Peter. And it wasn't going for me, and Jackie Sewell, they were interested in Jackie Sewell from Sheffield Wednesday, and I know they said, you know, and Huddersfield Town actually came in for me, you know. And I thought, well, you know, I'll go, you know, to play football. It was in the top division. They were about 8 points right on the bottom, actually, Huddersfield at that time. And I went to Huddersfield, and I had 2 wonderful years there, actually, although the first year we went down. Very, very unlucky. Dennis Law came to the club. He was a young lad, came, played in the first team. I actually played in Dennis Law's debut in the team. Wonderful players we had. Vic Metcalf, I think his name, was on the left wing. He was a great player, and we had very hard luck. We got relegated actually on goal difference. We won actually our last game against Burnley, I think it was 4-1. That was in the first division, and West Brom were playing at Aston Villa actually in the last game, and Aston Villa had to win, and West Brom drew 1-1 or something like that. So they sent us down on goal difference or something like that. So it was very, very unfortunate, very unlucky after being 8 points behind. And so the next season I played in the second division, doing very well, scoring goals, really enjoyed it at Huddersfield Town. And lo and behold, Everton came back in for me, you know, and I couldn't get back quick enough. And I signed. Bill Shankly was actually the manager there then at Huddersfield, and he didn't come with me to sign on, he just gave me the forms to come through to Everton to sign on, because just before that he said that Tommy Rhodes were interested and all that, and another 1 or 2 clubs, but then I found out Everton was the one, and they put the claim in for me, so I couldn't get back quick enough, and it was delighted. I was delighted. I was back here for another 2.5 years actually, and we finished just above halfway, playing really well in the first division, enjoying it. And Johnny Carey was our manager at that time. The first manager was Cliff Britton when I was here first, when we got promotion and everything. But Johnny Carey was our manager, who I'd played against for Man United. He was full-back for Man United. And a nice man, a lovely man. And I was playing quite well, I thought, and he sort of, he came in one day and said to me, he said, Liverpool are interested, oh no, Plymouth Argyle are interested in you, to me. Would you like, to go to Plymouth Argyle? I said, well, not really. I said, but I'll go down and see what they've got to say, So I went down, not interested really at all. And as I went down the next day type of thing, then Liverpool came in for me, So I thought, that's funny. I said Johnny Carey was only just saying that, you're playing well, that England was looking after you, could play for England, And I think it was all to do with my discipline, of being booked, which at that time was bad, was really bad then, We could talk about today and everything like that, but they could get sent off, 3 or 4 times a year. I mean, I was sent off 3 times in my whole career, which I'm not proud of, but the thing is, it's not too bad considering it was a really physical game, So, as I say, Liverpool came in for me, and I went to Liverpool, and it was really a strange feeling, being Everton twice, delighted to get back the second time. I went there, met the great Billy Little, of course, who was my idol. When I played for Everton, I was centre forward and he was centre forward of Liverpool. And we got on great, Ronnie Moran was there. There's quite a lot of players, Alan Aycourt. They had a good team, Roger Hunt and everything. And Ian Callagher made his debut when I was there as well. So we had a decent team, and we were doing quite well. And the 2 years I was there, they were in the second division at that time. I'd left the first division, Everton. And we finished third in the 2 years I was there, which in today's football, which have probably carried us forward into the top division, So the 2 years passed, 2.5 years I was there, and Mr. Shankly came back, he was manager at Huddersfield, which was a strange position to be in really, because he wanted to change all his team. He brought in John, Yates, all these type of players. He taught 5 players and let 5 of us go, who was in the actual Liverpool team then, So it was strange, and so, as I say, Tremie Rovers, wanted me to go there. So I finished up, going to Tremie Rovers. It was a strange thing thinking about the Liverpool thing, that it was so unlucky, that we didn't make it into the top division, but there again, 2 years later, not the next year after, the year after that, they got back into the top division, which, is history really, because Shankly, you can't knock Shankly, because he was a good manager, dedicated to football and boxing, of course. He used to always talk about boxing to us all, So, as I say, they got back into it, but I went to play at Tremie Rovers and really enjoyed it there, And from there, I went on to management at Ballymena in Northern Ireland, which again I really enjoyed, As I say, that's where I really finished, in Northern Ireland, and went back towards the end of my career as manager of Ellesmere Port Town. I got a job at Ellesmere Port on the environment health, and I went back to play, player manager of Ellesmere Port Town. Was at Ellesmere Port on the job. I was there till I was 65, naturally. And retired from the job at And Everton got on the phone. Not only Bill Kenwright, a couple of the directors who were here at the time, and asked me, would you like to come back to Everton in some capacity? I said, oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. And from then on, I came back and I'd done the club tours, as you know, and do the PR on a Saturday. And I've enjoyed it really, really well. You know, I mean, 15 years it'll be this year that I've done it. As I say, I had the trouble last season with my heart attack, which, you know, I feel all right now. I'm getting over it, and I'd love to go back on the tours probably in some capacity, which I think I will do, you know, and do the PR on Saturday, which is I'm really loving it, you know. So really, that is, you know, my career, you know, all in just a few minutes type of thing, you know.
Yeah, well, we'll fill in some of the gaps. I mean, I was into you're 14. You were saying 14. You said you joined. Did you play for the school teams? Was that how you were picked up?
I was playing for Ellesmere Port at the time, actually.
At 14?
At 14. I was playing for Ellesmere Port, and I played with the great Pongo Waring. Now, a lot of people, older people, will remember Pongo Waring. He was a great player, but I played with him just at the end of his career, you know. And I played with Kevin Lewis's dad, Tommy Lewis, which was a great player inside forward. So they were my two inside forwards when I played centre forward at Ellesmere Port Town, you know. And so I was picked up actually from a chap named Tom Corley, who was a scout, and he recommended me to Everton, and that's how it came about. And I came over for trials, as I said, you know, on the bus, the tram, and my gas mask over my shoulder.
Who was the manager then? Who was the manager at Everton at the time?
The manager was the man who was also the secretary. Was oh goodness me, I should remember him, shouldn't I? I'm sorry.
No, that's what.
But no, he was the manager, secretary manager. So what was your name? And then of course Cliff Britton came, didn't he, afterwards?
And what was your contract? How much was your contract worth? Were you?
12 months. 12
just
months. That's all it was then. We were on a 12-monthly contract, and every season you had to have your list came up of your retain list. I mean, what would it be like today? Unbelievable. You know, I mean, you had to play well to be on that list, and that was at the end of the season. That was the joy of seeing you were in the actual squad, you know, for the next season, you know, and that's what it was like. One wage, as you know, £20. That's all I got away. That was my highest. I mean, I got lower when I was younger, before I went in the army and everything. I was on about 12 and 8 or something like that, £12 and £8. But 20 was the most we could get at that time, you know.
Dave, you were saying about how the game has changed. I mean, I can remember watching you play with great pride, and you know, were you aware of the fact that on the pitch you were sort of a different person? I mean, off the pitch you are today, nice gentleman. On the pitch, you never came off the pitch unless you were actually bandaged or covered in blood, or I mean, that was how the game has changed so much. You were allowed to play on in those days, just bandaged up, weren't you?
Well, that's right, really. I mean, there was no subs, as you know, at the first. I mean, the first time I with the subs, I think you become one sub, you know, or something like that, was towards the end of my career, you know. But at that time you had to stay on, and you felt as though you had to stay on, and that was it, yeah. But as you say, yeah, I think you had to be like that. I think I love the game too much, you know. I think you can love a thing too much, you know. Or can you? I don't know. But that's how it was with me. I love football, and I became to really obsess with Everton, you know. I was really obsessed with them, you know. Which I am today, let's be honest about it. I play every week here with the lads, you know. I do the PR and everything, as you know, and I do that, but I'm playing that game, you know. there's nobody more gutted than me than, you know, the result last week, you know. But that's how I am, you know. That's me, and then I can cut away from it, you know. I say I can't for a while, you know, and then it comes up again.
But what do you think makes this club so special? I mean, you know, we've interviewed...
Well, because it was my first club, you see, and I think the first school you go to, you always remember the first school you go to. Don't care where you go, you always remember your first school. And Everton was my school, if you like. I mean, I went to the same school as Joe Mercer in Ellesmere Port Town. I've just met Nora now, brilliant. But that was my first school, was John Street School in Ellesmere Port, you see. And this, Everton was my first club I played for. I loved football, loved it very much. And it was my first club I came, you know, actually in the war, just before the war ended, you know.
I mean, you've got a strong association with this club. I mean, with all this ground move that's been petered about, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, what do you think players of your era would think about? I mean, would you still want to play here, or is it still something?
Well, I think if you ask most of them, they will want to stay here. I mean, I would love this place to be built, you know, as we want it to be built, for a 60,000 stadium, and whether it takes 2-3 years to do so much, you know. But I'd love it to be kept here, you know. I would, honestly. Or in this area, right? Not that I've got anything against Kirby, or nothing against anyone, but I'd love it to stay here, because this is Everton area. This is, I mean, actually we played, you know, Anfield was Everton's ground. And we played across the park as well, Stanley Park, where Liverpool, you know, in negotiation of having their ground. I mean, that was Everton's ground as well. Of course, we left Anfield and left it a club because we shared the club with Liverpool at that time. So I would definitely love, if it was possible, to stay here, you know, and rebuild here. At that time, there was used to put the on the door, you know, of the actual dressing room. They used to put the list up of whether you're playing or not. And I was delighted when I got to know I was playing. It was at Leeds United, actually, and to win our first game was another bonus. You know, that was great. I didn't score. I think Tommy Eglinton scored the 2 goals that day, and I laid one on for Tommy, you know. And we won 2-1 at Leeds, which was a good win because they were a good side in the 2nd division at that time. And then we went on to play at home, and I scored my first goal at home. I think we drew 2-2 or 3-3, I'm not too sure. And I scored my first goal at Goodison then.
And how did that feel, scoring?
Oh, that was fantastic, you know. It was fantastic. And our aim then, of course, was to get back into the top division, the 1st division, which we went on. I think that was early doors. I think I was 52 or something like that. 53, 54, we had 53. We had quite a good season, and we nearly got there. And as I say, we had that great cup run against the top teams. We played all the top 4 or 5 teams in the top division, which were good sides then. Wolves were up there, Man United, as usual, you know. And we just stabilised ourselves that year, played very well, got beat in the semi-final, which was very, you know, unfortunate. 4-3 we got beat.
Was that against Bolton?
Against Bolton Wanderers. And then the next season we knew we had it, you know, to do it. And the team spirit was great at that moment. And
who was
1954.
Who was in the side then that you can remember?
Well, at that side was Wally Fielding was inside forward, John Willie Parker inside left. When we got promotion, yeah, it was John Willie Parker inside left, Nobby Fielding inside right, Eddie Wainwright on the right wing, and Tommy Eglinton on the left wing.
And what were they like to play?
Oh, fantastic. Tommy Eglinton was a great player. I mean, very fast, and he was so direct. He'd get the ball over for you. You knew what he was going to do right away. You know, he wouldn't pull it inside or anything. He'd go for that byline and cross it over. And it was really, really good.
I was going to ask about the ball, because you were playing with the heavy case ball with the lace. What was that like?
It was a heavy ball at that time, yeah. I mean, it's changed so much now, you know. It's unbelievable, really.
What was it like, heading and kicking?
Heading was all right. It was just heavier, and that's all it is about it. But I think you had to, you know, well, it was harder, we'll put it that way. It was harder to probably score, you know, then, you know. But as I say, we stabilised at 53, 54, and then in 1954, 55, like 1954, actually, I think it was 53, 54, we got promotion.
What was that? Well, I mean, what game did you win the promotion on? Can you remember the day?
Well, we won the actual promotion game. We won at Oldham. We won 4-0. We had to win 1-0 actually to go up. We had to win 6-0 to actually take the top spot. And we went on and we played. We had a goal disallowed. We scored, made it 2-0, and in the end it was 4-0. And I remember at the time, I think Tommy Eggleston and myself hit the post, and we had a great chance really of finishing, you know, clear at the top. Leicester won the actual lead on goal difference, and but it was so much exciting season. We had great players, you know, as I said, the team there before, and
and you'd have played, I mean, they didn't have the undersoil heating like they do now, so you'd have played in snow, and what was it like playing in this?
Everything, yeah. I mean, I always remember a game at Birmingham actually, when we drew 2-2. That was in the second division. Gil Merrick was in goal for Birmingham, great goalkeeper. And it was such a great game, you know, in the snow. And it was compressed, you know, the snow must have been about 1 foot, and it was compressed to 6 inches or something like that. And we played on the 6 inches of snow. And it was really exciting, you know, really good. Yeah.
Was it dangerous though, or?
Well, we didn't think so at the time. I mean, now it's entirely different, you know. I mean, you know, when you see photography has improved immensely. I mean, you know, when you see the black and white, you know, very fast, you know, like Charlie Chaplin. I always say about Charlie Chaplin, he never run that fast, you know. I mean, it was unbelievable. I mean, you know, showing the films then, but I mean, in today's, you know, photography, you know, it'd be unbelievable. Some good games.
So I mean, the likes of the mud, that never bothered you. You whichever conditions, you just got on with it.
And played, and yeah. I mean, the pictures today are unbelievable. You know, Bob, the groundsman at Everton, is excellent. You know, he keeps the ground excellent. You know, I mean, in our day, at this time of the season now, it would be bare. You know, it'd be practically bare, just the wings. You know, I mean, because the reserves played on at the same time. You know, the alternate weeks, the reserves played at Goodison. You know, in front of good crowds as well, 3,000 or 4,000. You know, something like that, which was great. You know. But now the pitches are absolutely fantastic, you know.
And what was the likes of your boots? I mean, did you have to buy your own boots, or?
No. We got supplied with the boots. We got supplied. There was no sponsors or anything like that at that time. But we could supply a pair of boots for the season, you know. And
so you just the one, and you got on and had to repair it if it.
Yeah, tried to repair it if there was anything went wrong with them or anything like that.
And what about the kit as well? Was that the same?
Kit, well, yeah, we had probably two sets now. The players have 10 sets, I believe now. 10 home, 10 away, and 4 of the third strip. I mean, and it alternates every week. You know, the players, you know, when they finish one game, sorry, it sort of alternates, you know, and they have a new clean shirt, a new shirt every week.
But you had to just make do?
Well, with the 2 shirts, yeah, we won't get washed one week, and then we played it the next week, and that was it. You see.
Did you have to wash your own, or did it?
No. We had it was all washed, you know.
And what was training like? What did that consist of?
Training was quite hard, really. You know, I mean, people can say, "Oh, it's fast today. The football's fast." It is. It's good because I think they're allowed to be a little bit faster. You know, I mean, more in our game, I think, was strength. You know, it's physical. You know, it was more physical in those days. Anyone will tell you that, whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. But it was physical, and you had to stick up for yourself. You know. More or less, you know, the referees, okay, very hard job they had, even harder I think then and even now, you know, they had to.
And I mean, there was more rough and people got away with more in those days, didn't they?
That's
Do you remember
right.
any particular thing, you know, any particular match where you thought nowadays they'd be sent off for that tackle? Can you remember if any?
Well, it's probably games, you know, that I don't think so. I don't think you like to feel as though you're injured type of thing, you know. I mean, in those days, I mean, they were tough lads, you know. I mean, we had to take a lot of stick, give some as well, but fairly, you know. We went for the ball and the man, you know. Went for the ball was the aim first, you know. But it was very, very physical, you know.
And the goalkeepers in those days didn't get the protection. When you went up for the ball, were you going for the ball or the?
That's right. You're going to get the ball, but I mean, you didn't care who was there at all, you know. I mean, could have been anyone, you know, but you went for that ball. And I think today, and some of the times you go up for it and you say score, it would be disallowed, you know. In that way, I think it came actually from the continent, you know. I think it changed gradually from the continent, from the Spanish, you know, Italian, that league, you know. Yeah.
And talking about that, I mean, nowadays the culture is not to have beer or whatever. It's wine and water. What was the culture in your day? Was it? Did you have to have a set meal before a match or?
No, we had light meals. When we travelled away, fish was the obvious thing, you know. I mean, we used to go, say we went to the Midlands, you know, we stayed in a hotel just on the outskirts of, say, Wolverhampton Wanderers or something like that. We used to have a little bit of fish, you know, around about 11:30 or something like that. And, you know, and then when we finished, we got in the coach, went so far to Molyneux, and he'd have us up at the coach and walk to the ground, you know, a little walk to the ground, walk it off, you know. But we had a little bit of fish, that's all, and yeah, it was good, you know.
And what was, I mean, you were saying there were characters, was the banter like? Would it be similar as today? Did you have characters that you know, would make you laugh and relieve the tension?
Yeah,
sort of?
I mean, Nobby Fielding was a character, you know, he had a London accent, you know. I was actually here and played in the reserves with Alex Stevenson, old player, a little bit older than myself, and he was a character in the dressing room, you know. But there's some great players as well, you know, that I followed, you know. I mean, the first time I came to Everton, I mean, I think I told you before, was the first time I was T.G. Jones and Joe Mercer, you know. Those are the two people and I looked up to and respected, you know.
And now, going back to, you say you're promoted, so what was the difference between the second, was there a noticeable difference between the second? Nowadays you can tell Premiership teams are far and away better than Championship teams. Yeah. What was it like? Was there a noticeable difference when you came up?
Yeah, probably not as much as today, really. Not as much as today. I mean, because I say it was just improving then. I think, as I say, they have a little bit more space today, I must say, you know. I mean, you're not allowed to tackle like you did do when we played in the 50s, 60s, 70s even. You're not allowed to tackle that anymore, you know. That's been cut out. But no, I didn't think there was much difference at all, no.
So it was just as easy for you to score in the first division as it was the second, that you didn't notice?
No.
You had to change your style?
No. I think it all depends on the team, doesn't it? I mean, you know, if you've got the team spirit, like at Everton at the present moment, I mean, Everton, you know, the great team spirit at the moment, doesn't matter who they play Everton at the moment, we've got a chance of winning. There's no doubt about it, I mean, whether we can be consistent, that's another thing. But other than that, I mean, we sort of can match anybody, you know, as Everton. And I think that's what we thought then, you know. We got up, we finished, I think the first year we finished just above halfway in the first division. So I think, and that was it, and we're still there. We've had a couple of scares, a couple of near misses, going down again. But, you know, for me, you know, this is a great club, I've said that, it's a great club, it will never go under, you know, never go down at all, you know.
When you were playing, I mean, talking about team spirit, you didn't have a substitute, did you?
No.
So did you have to play? Did you have to play with injuries at times?
Well, you had to play, yeah, really. If you got a knock or something like that. I mean, there's an instance everybody talks about, the Man United game, where I cut my eye and I had 4 or 5 stitches or something like that in it, and I had to come back on, you know, and just have a sponge and hold a sponge, and then headed against the crossbar actually after and opened the stitches up again. But that was the, you know, that was what, you know, in these days you would have got to come off, you know, and got a sub. But you're right, there wasn't any subs then. Then it kept in 1 or 2 subs, that's all. But in those days it was just like a 12th man. And I think I told you, I've spoken to you before about when I first got into the team. My first trip with the first team was to Charlton Athletic, and I went as 12th man. And I was delighted. I was pushing the skips, you know, in for the lads and all that, and with the lads there. And I thought, one day I might just get in there, you know, and that was it.
Now, I remember Derek Temple was telling me I think he started his career as your...
As I was nearly finishing, yeah.
Do you remember did you spot how good he was going to be when...
Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, Derek, a great friend of mine and a great lad. I mean, you know, if I'd have scored a goal at Wembley like he scored, you know, it was unbelievable. And he's such a nice man, you know. And as I say, we're all part of Everton, you know. I mean, okay, some games, we'd have good games, we'd have bad games, but Derek got the goal at Wembley, and that was fantastic for Everton, you know. But I played with Derek a few games before I left for Liverpool. And he, one of the games, I don't know whether he told you about, was the Man United game. It was a 3-3 game against the Busby Babes. And fantastic, 74,000 I think was at the game. And it was absolutely fantastic, a 3-3 draw. And I remember heading a couple on for Derek to score, similar to what he scored in the final, you know, just flicked them on and Derek went and crashed them in. And I think that made Derek, you know, he was really on the way to have a great player, which he was. And it was a great 3-3 draw, and that was the team that sort of was fatal crash in 1958. It was very, very sad, you know.
So I mean there was the great Duncan Edwards. I mean, they all talk about. What did you think of him?
He was a good player, no doubt about it. I mean, he'd have lived in any football. I mean, people ask me if I would survive in today's football. A lot of people have said that I'd have been sent off every minute. No, I think you adapt in life, you know. You adapt, I think. If you go to the countryside, you adapt to the country. If you go to the city, you adapt to the city. And I think I would have adapted to today's football, definitely. If I felt as though I was getting protected, then I would adapt. But if you felt as though you're a little bit done to, then you wanted to give a little bit back and let them know you were playing the game. And that's all it's what it was about, that's all. No malice, no nothing. I didn't want to hurt anybody, break anybody's legs. I just wanted to play hard football. And that's what it was all about. It was really enjoyable.
And talking about that, I mean, which defenders did you find difficult, or could you go on the pitch and say, I can beat anyone, or there's the...
Yeah, well, John Charles had me baffled. You know, John Charles was a good player. I played some good games, and some games he used to cut me out, you know. He was really a good player, good mental player, John Charles. Hard players, I've had a few. The thing is, I always tell you, it's Danny Malloy of Swansea. He was the hardest one I played against because he was not unknown, but he wasn't like the Billy Wrights or the Jackie Charltons or, you know, the John Charleses of this world. He was a hard player, and he used to say, "I'll get you," you know, and I believed him. Funny how you believe some people. And you know, if Billy Wright or anybody had said that to me, I'd have said, "Oh yeah," you know, or anybody, even Malcolm Ellison, you know. Malcolm Ellison was a hard player, and he used to say, "Yeah, if you say that, it never bothered me," you know. But that's how it was, you know.
So, I mean, were you a different player as you got along? When you started, do you become a different player as you got older? Do you look back and think, yeah, I wouldn't, nowadays, when I was younger, I could, if I'd known now what I'd know when I was older, if you see what I mean, I could have scored more goals or done something different.
Yeah, well, I think, but you see, yeah, I do. I probably do, but there again, you know, you say that, but a lot of enjoyment for myself was making goals as well. I mean, you know, the actual season we went up, John Willie and I scored 60 odd goals between us. And as I told you before, Dixie scored 60 in one season. In one season. But we scored 60 odd between us, which was good in those days. And I feel so, I think I got 27, 28, and John got 36 or something. And I feel, you know, I made a lot of John's goals, and people say I should have gone and scored myself, you know. But it wasn't that. I think the team comes first, you know. If you can instill it into players, you know. It is a team game, and that's what, as I said before, Everton have got this in the mind now. You know, they're really doing well and helping each other. And in the end, it'll go around, you know. It will come around. There's no danger about it. So I was happy, you know, with that. But as you say, I think I probably could have scored more goals, yeah. But I didn't want to. I wasn't a greedy player, you know, at all, no.
And when you moved, I think it was to Aston Villa first, how did you find out? Did you have a choice to move, or
no?
You were going, that was it?
The thing was that I was left out, you know, of the team. And see, at that time, it wasn't a matter of moving for any money or tired. It was £20, that's all it was across the board. And then when you thought, well, it's just in one way now, whether it was through my discipline or what it was, I put it down to that myself, because I loved the place here, you know, at Everton. I loved it, you know, and I thought, well, I want to play football. And so, you know, in today, I think they take it for read that, you know, you can sit on the bench and that's it, you know. I mean, that's part of the game now. I mean, you know, you go by what's going on. But at that time, I wanted to play, you know, and they promised that I would get a place in the team at Aston Villa. I thought, well, they're a nice club, a good club. I don't want to leave, and that was it, you know. And it didn't come off, you know. It just didn't come off. I mean, I scored one goal, I think, in 11 games or something like that, and that was against Man United for Aston Villa. And then it wasn't just going too good, and it was Huddersfield came in, which was Shankly was at Huddersfield under manager to who was the manager, the Scotch chap was manager at Huddersfield. He came in, Andy Beattie, I think he was. Andy Beattie, I think it was. Yes, Andy Beattie, and he came in for me and said that you know, they want to try and fight away from relegation and that. And promised me to play. So I went there, and I done all right. I was a good 2 years there, you know. Scored a lot of goals, scored 20 odd goals again, you know.
And Ray Wilson was in that side.
Ray Wilson was actually came in the side, a young lad, well, not very old, Ray, and he was in the team. We had a good side actually, very good side, and it went on, and you know. And I don't know, you see, how it went about that. I didn't want to leave Everton at first, you see. And how it went about in those 2 years, nearly 3 years probably into them, that it just wasn't right for me. And Everton came back in for me, you know. Now, what it was, I don't know about the club, you know, whether it was was my discipline, probably, getting booked and all that. It wasn't a done thing in those days with Everton, I don't think. And I was sorry about it. I didn't, you know, worried about it probably, but at the same time, they came back for me, and it was the happiest, you know, happiest day of my life when they came.
I was going to ask you that about the likes of Aston Villa and Huddersfield. Were they different regimes, different way of doing things, or was it?
Yeah. It was, yeah, different type, yeah. Everton, you know, the passing football, you know, it was really passing football, and it was really different. But yeah, Huddersfield, I didn't do too bad really, actually. We had a good side. We had a chap named Vic Metcalf was on the left wing, and Dennis Law, of course, came in. He came in as a young lad. I thought, this lad's going to be good. He didn't look very good. He looked really, you know, a really pale young lad, you know, when he came, you know, was 15, 16, you know. But he developed, he played inside left to us in his debut with him at Huddersfield. And as you say, Ray Wilson was there. And we had quite a good team, you know. But then, after a couple of years, as I say, Everton came back in for me. And then that's when I came back and to Everton, which was great, you know.
I mean, you never quite made the England team, did you? Do you have a regret about that? Or?
Yeah, I thought, you know, Matt Busby, you know, said, I remember reading an article about him that he put me in the top 3, you know, to play for England, and he said, I think that David Hickson should play for England. That was Matt Busby, you know, which was great of him, you know, really. But he was Nat Lofthouse at the time, you know, and Nat was a good player. No doubt about it, Nat Lofthouse was a good player. And of course, I think Tom Finney came in at centre forward now and again, but it was Nat Lofthouse and Bobby Smith, I think he was the other one, and myself. So, like, fighting for that position. But yeah, it was sad, but at the same time, you know, I was back at Everton, and we finished mid-table, just above mid-table, the 2 years I was here, and we done all right. And then all of a sudden, Johnny Carey was here, and I was left out of the team. I said, and he said, and the week before, Johnny had said to me that I have a chance to play for England, you know, because I was playing not too bad, and that was it, you know. The next minute he told me, you know, he came and said Plymouth Argyle are interested in you, and I said, Plymouth Argyle? But he told me last week that England, you know, you might got a chance of playing for England. So I thought that was strange, you know. But and that's what happened, you know. So I think it was out of his hands, really, you know.
Yes, so sometimes...
Yeah, it was out of the manager's hands, you see.
Someone at the top had said...
Probably something like that. I don't know, actually. I can't say what went on. But, you know, when it's like that, there's a club you want to stay with and all that. So he let me out, you see, this game. And straight away, the next day, I think it was, Laurie Hughes, you know, came in for me, to Liverpool. He said, how would you like to come, you know? And I said, well, I want to play football, I don't really want to leave the city. And, yeah, okay, if you arrange it, okay, that's fair enough, you know. So they arranged it probably with Everton, and I went there. I didn't want to leave the city, and that was it. And I really enjoyed the 2 years I was there, because I was in this city, you know.
Did you get any stick, by the way? Did you get, in those days, did the Everton fans have a go at you for leaving, or wasn't it like...
No, one or two phone calls, thinking you can take over from our Billy Little, you know. Our Billy, they said, not Billy Little. But I knew who they meant on the phone, they used to ring. You think you can take over from our Billy, but it wasn't that at all. Billy Little was one of my idols, and I enjoyed playing with him, you know. So I played, and I scored in my first game against Aston Villa, one of my old teams. I've been there about 3 months, 4 months, that's all. And I scored against them, you know, we won 2-1 and scored the 2 goals. So it was a great start, you know.
And was there a noticeable difference between Everton, the way Everton did things, and Liverpool, or was it about the same?
Yeah, really, yeah, different type of training, yeah. Yeah, there was more, I think more five-a-sides type of thing at Liverpool, more, you know, with the ball more at that time, you know. But there was not a lot much in training really, as long as you train hard, you know. But, and that was it, and I enjoyed it there. And I would say, then the rest is history really. I went to Tranmere later on.
And I was going to ask you about, I mean, you're saying about all your moves. In those days, they didn't have agents, so
no.
What happened? You just had to sign on the dotted line?
Yeah, you had to just do it. There was no agents at all, no. You just had to sort of, if they said that, you just had to decide yourself, you know. You couldn't go to an agent or anything like that. There was no money involved at all. Only the transfer fees that they agreed to pay for sort of if he goes, and that was it.
So, I mean, was it you, or did your dad get involved, or your family, did they say, no. Yes, you're right? Was it just...
Not really, no. My dad actually died when I was with Tranmere, I think it was. But, no. He came to 1 or 2 games, my dad, but that's all.
So had he played football? Who taught you by the who made you kick a ball for the first time? Was it your dad?
It was at school, no. It was at school, and I used to play for Ellesmere Port. And that's where I was picked up at Ellesmere Port Town, really. I played with a couple of players, well, you won't remember, but I mean, it's in the history books about Pongo Waring. I played with Pongo Waring at Ellesmere Port Town. I was only 15 and 16, and I was coming over playing for the A team or B team at Everton, you know, and playing for Ellesmere Port Town actually at that time when I was young with Tommy Lewis, Kevin Lewis, his dad who played for Liverpool, Kevin. His dad played for Ellesmere Port at that time, and they were the inside forwards to me there. And yeah, I enjoyed it, Ellesmere Port Town, that's where I actually started.
So and the crowds, I mean, you went from Ellesmere Port, so you wouldn't have too many fans there, and you come to Goodison probably packed to the rafters.
Oh yeah.
What was the how did you...
Oh, it was fantastic, I mean, it was great. It was just a dream really, but I mean, you know, as a very, very young, when I was at school, probably 7, 8 or something like that, I was Manchester United, you see, because I was born in Salford, you might know. A lot of people say I was born in Ellesmere Port. I was only 6 months. And my mum carried me, and she didn't drop me, by the way. Some people said she dropped me on the way, but no. I was born in Salford, 6 months, that's all. And we used to go back there to, family and that. And that's how I got, the old Manchester. It's actually right by Man United's ground, where my grandma was,
So you grew up a United fan and...
Well, I didn't really, no. I was when I went there. I was Man United, but, Joe Mercer went to the same school as I went to. Or I went to the same one as he went to, but I went after him
How were you academically? How did you do in exams, and did you take the 11 plus?
No, not really, no, I didn't. No, I was sport-minded all the way right from day. I loved everything, cricket, tennis. I played a lot of tennis, swimming. Every in the summer, I used to go swimming, from the best. 1 or 2 of the lads at that time. One that was with Wolverhampton Wanderers, Lenny Gibbons, his name, played for Wolves. He lived in Ellesmere Port. We used to go down the swimming pool, in the summer,
And I was going to ask you, I think we filled in most of the gaps, but I was going to ask you, nowadays you're counted in the line from Dixie Dean, Tommy Lawton, then you go Dave Hickson.
Mm.
Were you conscious of that when you were playing, or...?
Not really. The thing is, a great honour, to follow the great Dixie Dean. Great honour. got to know Dixie very well. As I said before, I played in the England Army Cadets and the Army Cadets, Cheshire Army Cadets, that they got Dixie to train us, you know, train heading and all that. And he was great, you know. And as I say, he got me into the England Army Cadet team, which I played a few games for them. And I remember playing in Ireland once, and we won 7-1 or something in Ireland. And it was really great fun, you know. But to have Dixie, you know, as a manager, it was fantastic.
Now, talking about management, you went into management.
I did, yeah, in Ireland actually, Ballymena. Ballymena, I went from Tranmere to Ballymena and enjoyed 3 years there until the Troubles in 1970, and we got advised to leave, you know.
Oh, so that was, yeah. What type of manager were you? Were it discipline or?
Yeah, in a way. I wanted players to do as I did, give 110%, you know. And we done well. We finished third. Did 2 years I was there, Ballymena. The two big teams were always there, Linfield and Glentoran. They were the two teams through the through the 60s, 70s. I think they still are actually. I think Linfield and Glentoran are the two Northern Ireland teams. But yeah, we got them into third place, which in today's football would have been in the not the Champions League, would have been in the UEFA Cup, you know. But it wasn't to be, and I enjoyed management. And then I went to Ellesmere Port to finish off, and was manager there and working for the Ellesmere Port Council. And then I went as manager at Ellesmere Port Town. Which I liked, you know.
Can you remember? I mean, you was mentioning was your best game for Everton that semi-final you were mentioning, or was there another game you can think of? Yeah, I was really on the game.
Yeah, I always think about getting Everton where they got, you know, into the first division. I think that was our great aim, you know, and to get that, you know, to win 4-0, you know, we had to win 6, but to win 4-0 was great, and to know we should have won 6. We hit the post and everything, and it was great. And the supporters, I believe, well, they were fantastic. It was 50-odd thousand at Oldham. Now, you know, Oldham ground is still the same ground. 50-odd thousand there was that day, and unbelievable they were, I believe. You know, they tell me about it all, and to do that for people, you know, for these people, it was fantastic, you know.
I mean, did you have the same sort of feeling in that game as Derek
The
Temple?
Man United game, you mean?
No, the game that we came up basically in.
Yes.
Derek Temple told me in the cup final, he scored the goal, but he was sort of in his own little world until he got home into the homecoming the next day, and it suddenly hit him. But was that the same feeling for you?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, we really enjoyed that night, you know. It was all, I mean, there wasn't anything, you know, like no celebration of drink or anything like that. But it was that happy that night. It was good. And as you said, you're probably right, Derek. It hit you the next day and say, we're in that top division now, you know. It was fantastic, you know.
And then, of course, the aim for you was, fingers crossed, you were in the team for the next season.
Next season.
And it didn't matter in those days whether you're the best.
You didn't know. I mean, let's be honest, you didn't know whether you're in the team from week to week. You had to play and then realise you were on that. Every week, the list would go up on a Friday. And sometimes on a Thursday, but then it would go in the paper on a Friday night, and people who come into the game knew the team at that time. They knew it was, you know, if it was in the paper on a Friday, that was the team who was going to play. Well, you wouldn't know now. You wouldn't do that now.
And there were no favourites in those days. Even though you said you were scoring all those goals, you still didn't know you were going to be in the team.
No. Oh no, you didn't. No, definitely not. No, it was uncertain, and yet, well, if you played well, you realise, well, you're going to play, you know what I mean, you should play. And then, until the time when I said to you that they left me out, you know, I thought, that's strange. You know, it's something strange.
Yeah, you knew
something was, that the manager said, you know, one thing, and
I mean, can you remember the fees you left Everton for? Can you remember how much you were sold for? Or?
I think, yeah, around, I think when I left Everton the first time, I think it was £20,000.
So that would have been like about 4 or 5 million of today's.
Well, it could have been. It could have been. I don't know. 20. It was 30. Yeah, about 20,000, wasn't it? The first one. Yeah.
Does that play on your mind?
Yeah, it did. When you moved for that fee, you thought, are you worth it? So I mean, unbelievable figures now, aren't they? So whether it does when people come for a big fee, it does. It must play on the mind.
And do the other players in? You went to Villa first and all the. Do they look at you sort of? I'm not going to get too friendly with you at first, or?
No, they were all right. They were all right, really. The clubs I went to, as I say, they made me welcome the clubs. It's just that it didn't work out, you know. And I came back to where I wanted to be, and it wasn't to be, you know. It was just one of those things, you know. But after, you know. After I'd been at the council and I'd sort of managed to report down, I retired at 65 and Bill Kenwright and the board asked me to come back and do PR and that for the club, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I have, honestly. Really took me right back, you know.
And you wanted to finish by just telling us about the foundation.
I do. I wish I could have said more, but I want to talk about the foundation, how great they are, how they are with the players, with the older players. They've helped me and my wife Pat. They've helped me. Okay, very grateful indeed. But they've helped a lot of the other ex-players as well, and I'm sure they'll go on doing that. You know, I mean the functions and everything that they run for the players, ex-players. It's fantastic. They've always been great, and I can't thank them, as I say, very much on behalf of everybody, really, on behalf of all the ex-players. Thank you to the Players Foundation at Everton, because they are a fantastic